Level Up Latina partners with working women and mamas alike to guide them in achieving fulfilling career and life goals through financial empowerment, professional or leadership coaching, and personal wellness. Find the unique coaching you need to succeed.
You're listening to Vero, Ceci, and Irene, and we are Level Up Latina.
Hola, hola. Welcome back to another episode of the Level Up Latina podcast. Today, we're going to be talking about navigating that burnout line, that burnout feeling as women that are back at work or at work. I say women back at work because of me, you guys. If you listen to our podcast, you know. But we're going to be talking about just how burnout, overwhelmment, and how do we kind of make it work? Because sometimes it's not about the balance. Sometimes there's no harmony. Sometimes you just have to make it work and you have to show up. So before we delve into this juicy topic, because I think it's juicy, because I definitely need some guidance also, let me check in with my beautiful co-hosts, Ceci and Irene. ¿Cómo se encuentran hoy?
Tired and burned out. Not the grass. I do feel kind of tired today. I think it's because I stayed up past my bedtime last night, and then I woke up really early. So that's one of the things that I want to talk about later, sleep. Pero bien, just happy to see you ladies and to chat about this.
I'm feeling good. I have my oldest home from college, and I always feel absolutely complete when the five of us are together. So I'm in that honeymoon stage of my baby being home for 3 days now. And it was nice. I rushed to make breakfast for them this morning because I was like, before we get busy with the podcast. And it was already awesome. So it was 30 minutes. It was awesome. We played our game. We always play like a game. We had our question. We planned our week together. So I'm feeling really good and really happy that my kids are out there playing a game. And I wanted to mention it because if they laugh, they're playing like a guessing game. So you might hear 4 random people.
It's going to be like, guess who is interrupting the podcast today? We're hopefully it's laughter. Hopefully it's joy. And I was telling the ladies, before we jumped on to record, I was like, hey, and excuse me, because I'm also once again, my husband had to travel for work. He just left today. So he always leaves on a Sunday to kind of settle in, to be ready at the office, wherever he needs to be at on Monday, which I totally respect. That then leaves a lot of stuff for, the person that stays home. And in this case, me, the woman, the default parent per se, to kind of like plan things out and get things organized for the week. So when I said burnout, the thing is because I started feeling like just knowing that the week was approaching. I knew my husband was going to be traveling for work, like, ya lo sabía. We have it on the calendar. We're like mentally preparing. We have all this stuff. And as we're checking off boxes this past week to just make sure things are in place, we start getting the thing of like, FYI, my parents have appointments and it's early in the morning. So you won't have assistance in the morning with the kids and this, that, and the other. Or there's this in the afternoon. So you might need to pick up the kids. And mind you, I have a pretty, what is it called? Kind of eventful week coming up because we have, we're being observed and in a sense not audited because we're not going to go through our paperwork, but they're observing our processes. An outside company is coming in to kind of give us feedback on how our operation. So to me, they're going to spend a lot of time with me, a lot of time with like my BDC manager and kind of talking with my advisors. So I'm like, oh my God, like I need to be there, right? And I need to be there without having anything else to worry about. I need to be focused at work. So mind you, as we're preparing and I'm thinking like, okay, great. Now all these things that were aligned are not like, oh, by the way, this is also going on and this is going on. I started feeling that this knot at the top of my tummy, like aquí en la boca del estómago, como un nudo, like se me torcía. And I was just like, no, ¿qué voy a hacer? ¿Qué voy a hacer? Yes, there's certain people that can help and all that and people willing to help. But the thing is that during the day, most of us work. Most of us have things to do. So it's not like anyone could just drop things and go pick up my kids or help me with the kids or take them to practice. So there's so much that goes into it. And I'm like, ¿cómo le hacen las mujeres? And I understand how now, not that I didn't understand before, but how easy it is to just get burnt out, get overwhelmed and allow ourselves. You said a word right now, Irene, that's like mental gymnastics. Like we're doing all kind of shit in here. Like we talked about it in like referring to like Kim Kardashian to remember not to smile, to give herself those patas de gallo, on her eyes and avoid wrinkles. But we're over here getting the gray hairs, the wrinkles. We're everyday women. We don't have a team to put us together like she does. But what are things that possibly, like all the things that affect us, I think, as women. So when I was looking this up, when I started thinking like, this is a perfect topic because it's something that all of us kind of have to go, we all go through it, but some of us are afraid to like name it and say like, no, really, I am really freaking done. I'm really burnt out. I'm on the edge of my seat. I'm like just barely hanging on. So for me, I was like, I need to talk to my girls about this because, it's something that, obviously we all go through. Like, how do you ladies feel? Like being, we're all working women, we're all professionals, we're in different industries, but like, how do you feel? Like, what do you start feeling when like it's just the overwhelming or burnout's happening to you? Like, what starts going through your body or through your mind? And how do you think you show up? Ceci, you want to kick it off?
Sure. When you started saying like the knot, I'm like, oh my God, I know that feeling. I know how that feels.
Yes.
Right. Trying to maneuver everything. And yeah, like you're saying, we're playing gymnastics and we're thinking a million things. My husband likes to say it's because you like multitask. And I'm like, well, that's the only way I know how to function because I have to know where, the uniforms are at. I need to make sure that they get washed during the weekend, right? I need to make sure that, the girls are fed in the morning. I need to, all these things that are juggling. And yeah, it's sometimes you're like, sientes ese like nudo that you're like, oh, even though we plan for it, even though we know it's on the calendar, once like it's approaching, and it's funny, Vero, because you and I, we tend to have our husbands like traveling around the same time. Because a mí también me está pasando, like
I know.
I'm like, oh man,
let's move in together, Ceci.
I know
we got it together, girl.
When they leave, let's just move in together.
Let's just move in together.
Yeah, that's I know. Well, that's settled. But see, I don't know. I guess I just roll with the punches and make sure that I continue doing what I'm doing, like putting stuff on the schedule, making sure that I'm gonna exercise because that's what makes me feel good. Making sure that, well, I guess this is not really a hard rule for me because I was gonna say making sure that I'm sleeping well because when my husband's not here, I stay up late watching stuff on like Netflix.
You're like, Daddy's not home. I'm like, watch
I don't
TV.
know why I don't stay up late. Pero yeah, I think just, I don't know, just preparing for it, like preparing mentally, preparing on Sundays, which I always, you guys know, I always go through my agenda, think of like the week ahead. And then there's like curveballs that get sent, right? You ladies know that I was looking forward to crashing this particular, conference that my husband's going to, and I thought, cool, it's in March, it's kind of like 3 months into the year, like we'll get to have like our alone time again because we did that in Oaxaca in November, and now we get to do that again. Yes, he's gonna be working. Yes, I'll probably work on the Friday that I'm here, but just the knowing that we were gonna be alone together, I was excited. And then someone that we were relying on, just the plan fell through, and so now I had to cancel my crashing of the conference. So that kind of, put a, como se dice, un damper. Pero I was upset for like a day and just bummed. I was really bummed. I think that was really bummed when I found out. I was like, dang it, like that evening, I didn't even have the energy to like call the airline or the booking to see if I can cancel. I'm like, I don't even want to deal with this. Si se pierde, se pierde. I was upset on so many levels because I thought the people that I can rely on, and we all have our village, right, that we can rely on. But I feel for my husband and I that village has gotten like skinnier and skinnier because his parents moved or they went back to Mexico. They retired like 2 years ago. So then we don't have that. My parents with their illness, like through the years, they couldn't help me anymore. And then now like that my mom's gone, I'm like, dang it, like we don't have that village anymore that we can just have them come take care of the girls, take care of our dog. So that was just the reminder, like, dang, she's gone. Dang, my suegra is not here. She's not living in this country anymore, so we can't rely on that village that we had supporting us at the beginning of the girls' lives. So I just felt so bummed out that day. I was like, ugh. And then even the next day, I woke up and I'm like, ugh, I don't even feel like exercising. It was just, And I allowed myself to feel it. I'm like, I'm just going to lay here. I woke up until the girls woke up and just kind of, I was busy at work. So at least like I was productive, but I didn't have that energy to take care of myself in the mornings like I like doing, like exercising. I just, and things happen, and that curveball was kind of out of nowhere. But then the next day I was like, okay, well, this is the reality, and I have young kids and I need to take care of my kids. So, ya habrá otra oportunidad. So that's how I dealt with that, because, what else was I going to do? So I just kind of rolled with the punches, I guess.
Roll with the punches, Ceci. You also said something that kind of I was mentioning to Otto last night, that you're saying our village is shrinking. I think when we think of an immediate family that really we can turn to, right? But then last night was one of those first nights that I seriously was like, I need to start expanding that. Like Irene right now was just saying, like, through the message, like, hey, if you need me, en serio, like, let me know. And the thing is that we get that a lot. We get people telling us, if you really need me, let me know. And we're like, yeah, no problem. I'll let you know. Because we feel that this village or this little network that we have is reliable. But what happens, it's not that it's not reliable, but life is happening. Life is happening through it. They're going through their own personal stuff. And when we need them, they might not be available. So we kind of have to like be willing and kind of comfortable to start letting others in, right? And not just anyone, but the people that like know who our kids are, they know who we are, they know that, like what their need, in a sense, their needs at that age and things like that. And que te conocen, like they like recognize you. Cause just getting a random stranger, you're like, what? Who are you? Why are you gonna take care of me? Who's this sitter? So it really is about, like, last night I sat there and I was like, all right, I asked my sister, I'm like, hey, let me know what the week looks like, because I might have to reach out to my friends. My friends that, have mentioned that they're willing to help. So that was the first time ever in my 7 years of having had kids, right? Of having this little family, this little tribe that I'm responsible for, where I've had to think that. And the thing is that as we're getting, I'm imagining what it's going to be like when, we're older and our kids have kids, and it's like our families obviously se empiezan a hacer más pequeñas, pero nuestra exterior, like families that we're choosing, like our friends and people like that our kids are involved with, it kind of is there if we need it. And who doesn't need that extra hand? But that really hit with me right now that you said that. And I know, and sometimes we just have to roll with the punches, figure it out, but we can also turn to the people that have put themselves out there. That's when we're going to know the truth. Like, hey, are you really willing to help, cabrones? A ver si es verdad. So cuando le llame Irene, más vale que me contestes, cabrón. Más vale que me contestes.
Exacto. And I'm serious, because I was thinking, like, you're saying this whole story, and because my son is in town from college, I purposely have a really light week. So, like, I was like, en serio, pero, like, I'm thinking people offer and then they're freaking busier than you are. But I'm like, en verios.
Oh, you just invented a new word.
I know,
like,
en verio.
Yeah.
It's serio cuando estás hablando con Vero.
Con Vero.
No, I'm like, for real, call on me, because this week I feel like I have a light week, and I even put on the note, like, I'll take my kid with me. He's like the one I'm hanging out with. But it's true that we have to expand our village. When we have these conversations, I think about single moms, and I think, man, no lo puedo creer. How do they do it? They must have a village. I don't know how they freaking do it. And I think it's just so beautiful and commendable. And I want all moms to let go of guilt, whether you have a kid or not, when you need to ask for help and lean on your village. Because I know for me, part of the burnout and the mental gymnastics when I was working, wanting to travel, wanting to still have date nights, wanting to still be there for the kids and show up to their school things, is like, I really had to rely heavily on that village. And sometimes that village meant like a little tribe of moms at the school, and like, I'll pick up your kid, you'll pick up my kid, and you can identify a mom that's like, I got you. And they put the back call out, and there'll be moms that I barely know, and when they need help, yes, I'm going to help that mom, because one day I'm going to need that help. Earlier in my marriage, I know that felt a lot to me. Like, my husband was not the kind of person who was going to have bromances. And let me ask little Scotty's dad to pick him up. My husband's not like that. Men just also think how they are and work how they are. And women are. We will be the masters of all things, the managers of all things. And that's why boundaries are so important for burnout, because just because you're good at something doesn't mean that you have to be on and doing it all the time. And I am a victim of that, because I like to take responsibility for things and figure out how they're done. And I can do it. But then you're just like doing it for people who also can do it. They can do it. So my husband can figure out who's going to pick up the kids. He can expand the village. Like he watches me expand the village. But it took boundaries. You know, I had to say, sorry, I have like a frog in my throat this morning. I keep clearing my throat. But my husband will be like, I don't know who to ask. And I'll be like, your brother, your sister, you're this, you're that. How about that neighbor? How about this? How about that? And I think it was really good for us to help with the burnout because even that weighs you down. I have to think about everybody's schedule, everybody's pickup here and there. Cuando, como, and I'm also helping Gina because I told her I'd help her pick up her kid from soccer and I'm this and I'm that. And I also am doing this for the PTA. And earlier in my marriage, my husband wasn't volunteering in the school the way I was. You know, he wasn't worried about the emails the way I was. Like, there's a fundraiser for this. There's a fundraiser for that. The kid has a science project. Esta chinga, la otra chinga. And my burnout was very real when I was like, at work, I have to be the boss. I have to be present. I have to make decisions. At home, there's 2 of us. You're the CEO too, homie. You make this decision. And by the way, ladies listening, like this took me years. I still to this day, sometimes I'm overwhelmed and the kids have like 65 different things they're handing me to sign and to pay for and to set up in the calendar. And I add it to Diego's calendar and that's how he knows what's going on. But I'll have to stop and be like, wait, have dad fill those out. You know what? There's my checkbook. Have dad even write those checks. I'm doing 2 things right here. Have him do that. Point exactly is that, and my husband is very helpful, but no le nace solito. He's not. And before I used to be like, why not? You're watching me do it. He's like, I don't read minds, like the ultimate fight husbands and wives have. But it's like, but you're watching me just kind of like, that has to get done. Let me do it. That has to get done. Let me do it.
Yeah.
He's like, baby, just tell me and I'll do it. I'm like, oh, that's another burden. Remembering all the things to tell you to do.
Yeah, but remembering to tell them, like,
yes.
No te acuerda uno de eso.
But also, I'm starting to like let it go. So I seem to be like, they don't think how we think. So now I'm just, did you see this? Do you want to do that? And he'll have to say like yes or no or okay, here, take it on. And this week, like someone invited Noah at Disneyland. And I was like, I gotta go buy the ticket, make the reservation, make sure we're around that month, Friday, like when they pick him up, drop him off. And then he's like, no, but he probably wants to go to Disneyland with his friends. We've moved a little bit so he doesn't use his e-bike with the other. And I'm like, babe, you want to set that up? The dad texts us both. Like, go ahead. Like, ask Noah, figure it out. Sure enough, Noah's like, Dad, I want to go to Disneyland. So Diego has to go into the Disney site, buy the ticket, make todo the chinga que siempre me toca a mí. But I've learned to like, okay, Diego's pumped about that. Go ahead and do it. Y antes, okay, let me figure it out. Okay, let me figure it out for her. Okay, and it's like, but he's so good about, I'll pay for half. Yeah, do it. I'll pay for half. And it's like, no, it's not even about the pain. I'll pay 100. Tú hazlo. You do 6 things. I'll do 7 things. You do 5. I'll do 10. That little thing. And I know you girls are in a different situation because the men are traveling. I don't even know how they can help when they're traveling. But they can. Like, they can read the damn emails while they're traveling, maybe, and give you a summary. And they can sign up for things remotely. Like, you could find a way to get them to help you. And you got to ask, and they're not going to guess, and they're not going to be like you. But man, you need boundaries, women. Look, I needed them. We all need them. We need to just be like, no, I can't do this 50%, that 50%. And then also it gets better once they get older because the kids then become responsible themselves.
I'm like, it's crazy that you're like activities and this, like, that's just an additional thing that gets thrown on there. And remember when we were talking about this and I was still home, I wasn't at work, and I'm like, I'm ready to commit to activities that are like, you know, sports and things like that. So now I'm back at work and I'm like, how do you even with the amount of not just what comes with signing up to the activity.
The schedule, the practices, the times, they're all different. The games, the weekend, es una chinga, Vero.
Es una chinga. Cause then, you know, they're like, oh, we need volunteers. You're gonna volunteer, right? And it's like, I guess, maybe, I don't know. You're gonna be one of the coaches, right? Because we need three teams, 3 coaches, and we team mom. I think I mentioned this to you guys where I was like, hey, do you want to be the team mom? And I was like, I can't even be a regular mom right now. Like, you tripping, yo. Like, how am I going to do the team mom? Like,
yeah,
con 4 puedes, imagínate con 15.
My daughter's theater, it's like, es una chinga time commitment. You got to sign a contract. You got to tell them if you're going to miss more than 2. When they won't cast you if you're going to be not there. So we have to commit. Then you have to volunteer. And if you don't volunteer, great. Don't volunteer. They charge you. So you pay. So either pay in time or you give them stuff that they can sell, or they are going to charge your credit card. So they have your credit card bill and they are like every step of the way, cobrándote con tu tiempo y con tu dinero, but you have to be on top of it.
Mm-hmm. No, hombre. Oh, se les fue el perrito haciendo niños. How cute, pobrecitos. You're the chismosa. I heard you, but I'm like, oh my God. I'm like, they better not cross the street. No, I know. And I'm just like, se hace lo que se puede. We were saying, but it's hard for us to kind of get to that point of like, se hace lo que se puede, because we're always so expected to do it all. And it's really hard to say no. So setting the boundaries is one part of it, to like, at least alleviate the amount of the weight on your shoulders. But it just happens to be more like women experience burnout at higher rates than men. And it's just, I feel that it's not just the expectation at work. Like when we show up, they're like, oh, well, here comes a mom, right? Here comes a lady that's works here, that's, shows up and she's a mom and she's this and she can't, it's like, why are you going to give her projects and why are you going to give that? It's like, you have to, it's like, well, I could still do it, but I feel like it puts that tension at work, which creates like higher stress. Like I need to show up at work and still fucking perform at a 2000%, which is like doesn't exist, but that's how it feels, that you have to put all that effort into it to prove that this is why you're there. So that when you do have to leave early for kid activities or hey, I'm unable to pick up your kids. Can you go pick them up? And it's like skipping out or taking an extended lunch here or doing it. It's like we figure it out, but it comes with such a great cost. So what are other ideas, like other ways that we can possibly share that maybe have worked for you that have made it easier or like just eased that feeling at work and the fact of having to show up at that 2000% to prove that you're worthy of being there, which adds to the stress? Like and it kind of alleviates also being like, showing up as like the team mom, team coach, team everything. And, here's my credit card charger because I can't do it today. Like what are things or ideas or suggestions or things that have worked for you ladies, that we can, share with our audience that they can put into practice that would kind of ease that?
Hopefully, you have a job that is pretty flexible, because I think the thing about work is, I've been a mom at my office and I've had moms work at my office. So I remember before there were mothers after me, because I was one of the only moms when I first started working there, except for my boss. And then all my bosses were moms, which was kind of great. But I remember one thing that I had to navigate is sort of, because my husband was, like a lot of men end up being, like kind of out of the picture. He'd leave early for a commute. He'd get home late after his commute. He was out of the house. So he was not worrying a lot about drop off pickups after school, stuff at the school. He just wasn't. He had to row into that, and I had to not be resentful and ask for help. But one of the things that I would do is with my boss, I'd say like, my child is going to start catechism. For whatever ungodly reason, those classes start at 4:30 in Redondo Beach on Wednesdays. So there's no way I can work till 5. And that's for the next 9 months, because he's doing this every week for the next 9 months. So I'd have to have the kind of relationship with my boss where it's like, I'm going to get my job done. I can come in early. What do you prefer? I can stay late another day. And I would always propose solutions to my boss to be able to give me flexibility if it was outside of the flexibility I already had. So I already had Fridays that I could work from home. And then that kind of became here and there. I could work from home more, but I was like, I'm going to need every Wednesday to dip by 3. So I'm going to move my whole life around. Is that going to work for you? Should I come in at 7? I knew my boss. Damn, now my dog is playing with toys. I am really the disruptor of disruption today. I'm sorry, Karma. Anytime I was not patient with my peers.
Go Teddy.
Family. I had my dog's tail knocking on my door seconds ago. I can't even think because I'm like hearing all the fun out there.
I think it depends también on la relación que tiene uno con su boss, because ahorita with my current boss, así como está diciendo Irene, like she's our ED and I'm, the legal director of my own department, so I kind of run my own show. But I was so used to with my prior ED telling her like, hey, I'm going to take this day off, or I'm going to leave early because my kids have whatever. And, just to be transparent. Right. And then my current boss now goes, he's like, you're a grown woman, like, I know what you're going to, like, I know you're going to get your work done. Like, no me tienes que decir, but I'm so used to informing because, I guess, again, I want to be transparent.
That's one tip that I would say the biggest thing is sort of like hopefully having a work environment where you can be a mom too within reason. You can't like leave at 4 every day, though you wish, or 3 every day. But these kind of like, and then proposing where you're going to make it up or showing where you're going to do something in excellence. So it's another part of the burnout too, because then you can't be like perfect employee because you're going to have to show up for your kid 50% of the time and you want them to give you that 50%. It's such a weird balance. You're also not expected to be a perfect employee because that's hard. You can be an employee that makes mistakes, but I think if on average you are doing the best you can and life ebbs and flows and you have a good relationship with your boss, they'll know like, oh, she's having a tough period. Like I would try to do my very best to do great. And then sometimes be like, I'm having a tough period. A lot's going on. Like my husband's traveling or my husband works really late. Or I would try, if you can, women out there in the world, like if you can, when it comes time to being vulnerable and sharing that you're overwhelmed, as long as it's not an excuse, I think that's good too, to be transparent with your employer. when you're going through stuff, because I think it helps get some empathy if they know that your mind is like bogged down or you maybe run a little late. Like, don't abuse it. I don't want women to think I'm saying like go out there and like be a mess at work, but it's a balance of vulnerable, honest, respectful sort of. I have a lot that I manage. My husband travels a lot for work. So some weeks are going to be like this, XYZ. I want to let you know beforehand. This is how I'm going to work it out because I'm going to need more flexibility. I think speaking to it is good because everyone knows it's happening if you're trying to like navigate it without speaking to it. So you rather speak to it. The second thing is asking for what you need. So adapting the schedule. And then the third thing is I do think we need to put more on husbands. And I know husbands that travel, it's different, but they can do more. We are default parents. Moms are default parents, whether it's by our culture that taught us to be that, our society now as Latinas or not Latinas, just as moms. But working moms are expected to often behave like stay-at-home moms did in the 50s. And you have to cook the meal and clean the house and be sexy and have the dates and be the mommy and help with the homework and turn it in. Just speaking about it is like burning me out. So boundaries. We need to be able to tell our husbands one thing's got to give. Something's got to give because I'm running on empty. You can do this, that for me, hopefully, and I can do this that week and then we'll trade. But I think planning your week together every week, I think having visuals is really helpful, sharing a calendar, but like putting more on your spouse, regardless of their excuse of why they can't do more. They can. I said earlier, how can they help you remotely? Like a partner that travels or a partner that my husband's excuse was always, he wasn't around, he had to leave early and he had to get home late. So he just wasn't around. So then it was like, okay, well, I'm going to take a step back and maybe you can volunteer in the kids' school on the weekends. They have Friday night things. They have weekend things. Help out at the carnival. So it's like, it removes the excuse. It's like, oh shit, the carnival is on Saturday. I guess I can volunteer. And then Supermom over here isn't having to volunteer at everything. Your husband does come. He just has to come when it's right for him, And I think having those trade-offs is really important. And that'll to not feeling bad that you have to expand your village. A mí me daba pena. And then after a while, I was like, we're not able to do anything if I can't ask people to open my big old mouth. So I would ask everybody that I trusted. My nieces have helped with the kids. My neighbors have helped with the kids. My comadre that lives down the street. A mí no me da vergüenza. Un día yo, un día tú. Y a little bit, it might stink because I'm like, oh, my nieces, they got a social life. They got stuff going on. They're probably on a hot date. But like, maybe they're not. Maybe they're free. Like, can you pick my kid up from school? My niece always tells a great story about picking up my son from school and how she took him to Chick-fil-A and how he just kept making her laugh and all these one-liners. And she loves the story about the one time she picked him up and they went and ate Chick-fil-A. She gives him like Chick-fil-A gift cards. Like they bonded over this one time she picked him up, right? But I will watch her dog, for instance, again, a village. I watch her dog. That's her kid. And then in turn, when I'm calling again, like, hey, can you watch two of my kids this time? Or can you give them a ride? Yeah, no problem. Of course, I got you. Like she navigates her life because I'll navigate my life because your village does get thin. So then you got to get creative. Like, dude, one day I was even going to ask my new neighbor something because I was like, maybe she can take them to school. And that's a little crazy, right? I'm not telling you to trust your kids with people you don't know. I didn't do it, but I almost did because as women, we are going nuts and there might be people there that can support you. Last thing I'll say about that. My kid used to do this thing called walking school bus on Wednesdays and I signed his butt up and I was like, Wednesday morning, some other mom walks him to school. I'm down. One less kid, one less logistic. I'm doing it. And after a while, there was nobody else in the club. It was just her two kids and her, que iban. And I'm like, I don't care. Yo venta mi chiquillo cada mañana. I was like, I clear. You're walking my kid to school because
Que te vaya bien, hijo.
And other school buses iban unos 10, unos 12, unos 20 chiquillos caminando juntos. Ella siempre caminaba sus dos hijos que eran gemelos, think que eran dos, y el mío. But I was like, those Wednesday mornings were like golden because I will take a village where I could find it. I was like, oh, cool. I can be like trash. I don't have to get dressed up. I got to jump in the car. I can just throw him out the door. They're going to walk him to school and I can take my time Wednesday mornings with the little ones. They don't have to be anywhere. Like, so guys, just that puzzle of where can I get a break? Where can I get a breather? Who can I use their support? And the other thing I keep saying is give them support too. So the tip of the day is like when you're saying yes to other people when you can within reason, hopefully you're banking it and they're then able to say yes to you. So when you can volunteer to help out other moms, I know it's hard, but then those moms can hopefully volunteer to help you out. And then you start to create a village that, God willing, it all kind of works out when you're starting to burn out.
I think, go Ceci. Go for it.
I was going to say, yeah, I'm starting, I feel comfortable now enough to rely on like some of the other moms because we've been like my kids have been in the same class with the same kids since preschool essentially. And so I have my little group of mom friends, like 6 of us that we go out to dinner. And so we've started to expand that village. We haven't done overnighters. I don't know if I'm going to do that, but we'll see. We'll see when we get there. Pero I have left in the summers. We have like traded off, like, oh, yo te cuido. I'm going to work from home today. Yo te cuido a tu hija, or vice versa. She was going to like take a day off and watch my girls. So we've expanded that. So I was going to say, yeah, now that maybe once your kids are a little older and you build a community with the moms at your school, like maybe take advantage of that. The other thing, because Betty, you had asked, like, how do you manage it at work? So I do drop-offs Monday through Friday. Monday and Friday I work from home, so I'm not like in a rush. I take them, I get down. But Monday through Thursday, I do go to the office. And so I do drop-offs. I don't get off the car. I just do the drop-off line and I just go straight to the office. And I get there like at 8:20, 8:30. So I start my workday earlier and I don't feel guilty when I'm going to leave at 4:30 because I got here earlier, And so I'm saying this because in the summertime, then we don't have the regular school schedule. They're in camps and maybe those are starting at 10, maybe they'll start starting at 9. And just yesterday, Liz was saying like, oh, well, like how, if you're going to do the drop off on your way to work, like, how are you, like, is it okay for you to be late to work? And I was like, yeah, I'm like the whole year I'm there really early. So I think it's fine. And, of course I'll let our ED know like, hey, summer is a whole other story because of my girls and, she'll be okay. But se da cuenta, pues, que estoy allí. Los días que estoy en la oficina, estoy allí más temprano. Soy la primera. Yo llego y hago el café. So that's one tip. And I think one thing that I've talked about in the past is how Luis and I were training off doing the lunches for the girls. We're not doing that anymore because they're old enough to make their own lunch. So they're making, right? I'm like, yeah, oh my God, yes, we're there. So they trade off now. Like una semana lo hace Samantha, the next week Paula. So one little less short chore that we have to, that worry about.
I tend to be the type at home that is like, yo lo hago solo, no importa. And I won't be resentful. I'll just clean the whole house. So like my husband, if he's going to do something, he's going to have an army of little kids with him doing it. Él no lo hace solo. The minute they were able to freaking put something in the trash or sweep something or wipe something. So I know when he's doing stuff, there's like 4 of them cleaning. And I'm kind of behind the little ones cleaning. But through the years, like, él no hace nada solo. Like, they are his little army. So men and women are so different. Like, so I need to lean more on the kids to help me because they can and they will. And so if I'm cooking, they offer to help, like, take their help. They're so used to helping their dad in the garden and in the house and with the dogs and with the this. Because Diego, no, he's like, oh, I got to do it? Okay, everybody, he'll text the whole family, everybody meet me outside. And they're all los pobres gardening. I feel terrible for them. He tells them, don't put nice clothes on. And then like, yo pinche me chingue todo el día limpiando la casa. And I'm just like, let them sleep. Like, but I don't do it resentfully. I'm like, it's just faster. Like, me quieren ayudar a cocinar antes y decir, no, like just faster. And I don't want to tell them. Like, now I'm like, let them help me. I'll let them help me cook and stuff. It'll take longer. Es una quemazón, but it's kind of nice. Like, let them help you. But also, it doesn't make a difference. My life is easier now because they are so independent. So Vero, one day it ends. Ellos se lavan la ropa. Ellos lavan los trastes. Their week, they plan their week. Ellos se bañan. I don't have to beg them to be clean anymore. Like, for a while, their hygiene was a thing. And like, they're so diligent. Like, sometimes it's like, we can't be out too late because it's have to wash. I have to do my hair has to dry before I go to sleep. They're like so on it. I want to give credit to my husband where credit is due. He made them be independent. He made them do stuff. He made them clean, look after their dog, look after their house, look after their life, their personal life, cleaning their rooms, and they're little helpers. They're in service to you, which is very sweet. Funny enough, it does help burnout. Let your kids do more than you think they can do. Like, my kids have been washing their clothes since they were 7 years old because someone told us they could and they weren't wrong. And they've been washing dishes since they were 7 years old because someone told us that's the age. You get them a stool and they can wash dishes. And to be quite frank with you guys, what am I going to do with myself when they all move out? I have to wash dishes again? I have to wash clothes again? I don't wash my own clothes. They wash clothes because my husband says they wash clothes. The things that they do, it's a huge help. And I think I'm also modeling it because I'm very clean. Some people come to my house and probably think they live like they're in a hospital. Everything's clean. But so I'm being limpios, and there's not going to be anybody to clean up after. So I'm going to have this clean house. I'm going to do my own chores. It's going to be a little bit sad when they're gone. But it's been really nice to have really nice support and use their support. My kids like going grocery shopping because I don't, because they do it online. Avoiding burnout, I stopped going to the grocery store. I paid a premium. So it's this trade-off of how much they're engaged, how much they see, how much they do. Use your kids, they're little helpers. And I know I just alluded to the buying online. Money also solves a lot of logistic problems. Not everyone has the resources. I understand that. But if you also solve the money problem, a lot of times you solve the burnout problem. And I don't mean to say that to not give people hope, because money can be tight. I had my tight years. God knows I had my tight years. I was grooming my own dog, cutting off his ears on accident. Like, I had no money. I had no money, and I had a dog. ¿Quién me manda? ¿Quién me manda un perro
el
tan
Jelly
dinero?
Bean, pobrecito Jelly
Yeah,
Bean.
yeah. Pinche Jelly Bean se le cayeron los dientes. I couldn't afford to take her to the vet. Listen, guys, money solves all things, because now I have these dogs and we can afford bougie pet insurance. No es cierto. But pet insurance, growing up, like tu perro de Tijuana.
I know.
He got no care. He got no care.
Trajiste según vacunado, le salieron lombrices. Ay, no, olvídate. Ahí
But
quedó.
money does solve some logistical problems. So as you grow in your marriage and your career, and though you're trying not to burn out, there's light at the end of the tunnel, because more income then also creates more help. You can shop online. You can get a maid. You can take your stuff to the cleaners. You can. I loved this mentor of mine who would be like, I don't want to fight over chores. I don't fight with my husband over chores. I'm never going to fight over chores. So I get people to pay to do chores. And I'm like, man, I would love that. Like, wow, we don't have to fight about, oh, I did the dishes today. Well, you didn't do the dishes, and you don't cut the lawn, and you don't have to fight about that. Tienes jardinero, tienes this, tienes that. Like, you don't have to fight about that. So don't give up hope. Try to make more money too, and maybe it'll help to burn out.
Si están en su casa, váyanse a trabajar. Ya es hora. Just kidding.
Work
No,
more.
hombre.
That's so sad.
I mean, you ladies shared a lot of things on here, and obviously a lot of it falls on the women. And I think we alluded to it being cultural expectations, societal expectations, programming, everything we see. It's always like, la mujer. I mean, just blame it on me. Everybody's just blame it on me. But there's going to be times where we have more going on at work and then more going on at home. And sometimes it's going to overlap, and you're not going to know where to go or where to start. And I think don't shut down in those moments. Don't shut down. Allow yourself to look for help. Allow yourself to, like, en serio, reach out, en serio, reach out.
En serio.
Like Irene said, speak about it to your boss or to the people in your life that can help. Ask for what you need. Put more on your husband or your partner or the people that you have around you that are willing to help and that you trust. You're not alone in this. And I feel that I wanted to talk about it because I know that sometimes we have to feel like we've got it all together, that we are the only ones that can figure things out for ourselves and for our family. But asking for a little help, it's fine, especially, when that village is a little bit smaller and starts thinning out. You're going to need somewhere to, like, extend your arm and find someone. When you're drowning, you're kind of reaching for someone. Abre la boca y pide ayuda, como dice Irene. Abran la boquita. No nomás para comer, canijas, okay? No nomás para los tacos de carne asada del pastor. But let's...
Delicious.
I know.
Yum.
Always food ends it up at the end of this conversation.
I know.
But yeah, if there's anything else you ladies want to add to this convo before we go...
The only thing I'll add is today, if you're listening to this episode the day it drops, today is our collective, 5:00 in the evening, and that's Pacific Standard Time, and then 8:00 Eastern. And if you want to join, you still can. Even if you join after today, like, you're still going to get a lot of really good nuggets, but you can join if you listen to this the day we drop our weekly collective. So check out our website for that, because I think if this inspired you, there's going to be a lot of women talking about these same things in the collective and leaning on each other, helping each other, being inspired by our ideas and our lessons learned, and all of that is needed. So I hope that you'll join the collective, and we'll hope to see you there.
Yes, please join us. This will be the first week. We have 6 weeks. It's never too late to join and get started and have a community of women that support you and hear you out and can give you just a different perspective on how to do things. But if you're having Ceci, Irene, and myself at your side, girl, you're going to get it done. You're going to get it done. We're going to figure out a way. Okay, because no las dejamos atrás. Muy bien.
Juntas vamos a poder.
Sí,
Amen.
eso sí. Así de que con eso las dejamos. And we hopefully you enjoyed this podcast, today's episode, and the conversation. If you want to keep the conversation going, or if there's something that you want to talk about or go more into detail about this particular episode, feel free to contact us. You can reach out to us on our socials. We're typically or usually on Instagram at Level Up Latina. You can also find us shooting us an email at admin@leveluplatina.com. You can find out all about us, our services, the collective, how amazing we are, the podcast y todo, and also find out about our sponsors or our affiliates. You can find all that amazing information on our website, leveluplatina.com. gmail.com. And with that, las queremos mucho. Se cuiden, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you on the next one. See you on the flex.
See ya.